What's up, guys? I wanted to make this video because I see a lot of newer traders struggling, right? I see a lot of people struggling online. I see a lot of people blowing accounts. And I've had a lot of things weighing on me, and I've been thinking about a lot of different things when it comes to trading. And I wanted to get this out and kind of just have like a conversational video with you guys about trading and the struggles and the things that new traders go through. And I feel like this is going to relate to a lot of you. And I know that for me personally, it even relates to me because I went through it. I've been through a lot of these stages, a lot of these struggles that I'm going to talk about in this video. And I hopefully, if you take one thing out of this, is to just don't quit, don't give up, because you're closer than you think on getting to where you want to be with trading, making money, turning profits, right, instead of blowing accounts. And so there's a lot of points that I want to cover in this video, and I think you guys are going to relate to a lot of this. Now, when you first get into trading, a lot of people, like, there's stages to this, right? There's stages to trading and things that you go through. A lot of people, they come into trading, they go through that excitement stage. They're excited, they're hungry, they're ready to make money. And then they hit that brick wall, and that brick wall sets them into reality, and you start to lose that excitement. You start to lose that confidence, you start to lose a lot of different things, and then you start to become confused. You're like, okay, well, I see other people making money. I see a lot of other people doing well with trading. What's happening with me? Why aren't I making it? Why can't I turn profits in trading? And so you go from that excitement stage to the confusion stage, where you start to get confused. You don't really know what's happening. You're trying to find your footing, and you're feeling like you're going one step forward and two steps back. And that is completely normal, right? And then you start to go through that phase for quite some time, and you go from the confusion stage to the doubt stage, and wondering if you're even made out for this, or if you're even fit to be in the trading space. And this is where a lot of people actually quit. A ton of people quit during this stage. And that's where 90%, you hear that statistic, that 99, 95%, 90%, whatever it is, of traders who fail, they quit during this stage because they've hit that doubt stage where they've just continued to lose money over and over and over again, and just can't seem to turn a profit or to get things going in the right direction. And I'm here to tell you that that stage is entirely normal. I can't tell you how many times or how much time I've spent in the doubt stage before even turning my first profit in trading. This shit is hard, right? It's not easy, and trading will never be easy. Granted, it does get easier as you start to find your footing, find your strategies, find things that work for you. It gets easier in that sense, but trading will never be easy. It's always going to be hard, right? And so you go into the doubt stage, and then once you've been there for quite some time, you're just ready to quit, right? Again, this is where a lot of traders quit. This is that next stage. You go from the doubt stage to I'm done, right? I'm tired of losing money. I'm tired of spending money. It starts causing issues in your relationships, in your home life, your financial life, because you're spending all this money on trading, whether you're trading your personal capital, your prop firm accounts, whatever it may be. You start to go through that struggle. And trust me, I have been there. I've been there with the home life struggles. I've been there with the financial struggles, right? It is normal, and you're going to go through it. But I promise you that if you stick with it just for a little longer, find a way to just stick with it, you're going to exit that I'm ready to quit stage and start to think, okay, you know what? I got it. Like, I think I got it. I think maybe I don't have it fully. Maybe I'm not there all the way, but I feel like I'm starting to get my feet underneath me and start to feel like this could work. Okay. And that's really the stages. Like, every trader goes through that. You go through the excitement stage, the confused stage, the doubt stage, the I'm done and ready to quit stage, all the way up until you finally feel like you've got it, you've got a grip on it, and you're ready to continue learning, continue growing, continue refining what you have found works for you. These are all stages that newer traders go through. And that really leads into the next point, that every trader's journey is different. Nobody's journey is going to be the same. One person might take a year to get it. Another person might take 5 years to get it. Another person might take 3 years to get it. The worst thing you can do is compare your journey to somebody else's, because that is going to put even more doubt, even more fear into your head and into your trading, and it's going to cause you to get a little bit more emotional than what you should be, right? And so never compare your journey to someone else's. You are on your own journey. You are on your own path to learning how to trade, and however long that takes, you should be there to ride it out, which also leads into the point of how long are you willing to go through failure, right? Every trader's gone through it. If you're going through failure, I'll be here to tell you, you are not the only one that went through it. Every single person, there is not a single trader, not one trader that came into this and succeeded immediately. Not a single one. Everybody who entered the trading space or just tried to become a trader, became a trader. They went through years and years of failure, and that is entirely normal. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to sit back, buckle up, go through the trenches, right? Eat shit for however long it takes and get on the other side of it, right? Because eventually it's going to happen. If you dedicate yourself and you actually learn the ins and outs, the processes, your strategy, continue refining, eventually it's going to happen, right? You're going to get to that other side of the train. So don't think that you have to get there in a year or get there in 2 years, get there in 3 years, whatever it is, because it's going to take longer, right? It may take longer than you think. So even though it takes longer, you might actually be closer than you think you are, right? So just keep putting in the time, right? Every trader has gone through it. Every trader will continue to go through it. Even the best of the best traders still have struggles, right? There isn't a finish line, right, to trading, right? You're never there. It's always a constant journey, constant refining and adapting to market, because the market is always changing, right? There are new market conditions. What worked for me last year doesn't work for me this year. I've had to completely refine my strategy, right? And that comes with putting in time in the market, learning how the market moves, learning how your strategy works, and learning what you need to do to continue to refine your strategy to adapt to those conditions. Now, a lot of the struggles that traders go through during this time of trying to figure out trading, and then this might sound a little cliche, but at the end of the day, this is all true. We've all gone through it and we've all struggled with it. Is you're probably struggling with oversizing. You're probably thinking, I want to make a lot of money really fast right now, and you size up too big, not realizing that you might be hurting yourself for the week, for the month, for the year, right? Sizing down is okay. Taking smaller profits is okay. Just today, I took a $265 profit on my Tradify accounts, right? I took a small profit and I'm okay with that. I don't have to have $500, $1,000 days. I know a lot of things that you see online puts that image in your head. So I encourage you to be careful on what you watch and what you consume, because it can poison your mind a little bit on what success in trading actually is, right? You don't have to oversize. You don't have to put on massive contracts and make a ton of money, right? All you have to do is build. Capitalize off small movements, compound those profits. Let your account equity build over time instead of build in 2 days. Okay, you're gonna blow less accounts that way than going on massive size and hoping for the absolute best. Right, so you don't have to make $10,000 in a single day to succeed at this, right? Focus on those smaller compound gains. One of the other cliche things that most people do is that over trading, where it's like you want to constantly trade and trade and trade. You're looking at the charts all day long, right? You don't have to look at the charts all day long. I was a one and done trade a day. Do you think I had to be at the computer watching the charts all day to take a one and done trade? No, the market provides opportunities, right? So you can take one trade and be absolutely done. You don't have to take 10, 15, 20 trades in a single day to, succeed at this. You can take your time, take one trade a day and be perfectly fine, right? Those $200, $500 trades once a day are going to add up. Now, granted, are you going to be green every day once a day? No, absolutely not. But those small compounded one and done trades, they add up quicker than you may think. Now, you don't have to take one and dones. I'm just saying, I'm not encouraging you to take, sit at the charts all day and just trade. Like the market doesn't provide that many opportunities. The market may only provide 2 to 3, maybe 4. I would say that's pushing it. I would say mainly 2 to 3 trade opportunities in a day, right? And so if you're taking more than that, ask yourself, are you over trading? Are you searching for trades? Are you searching for, entries just to make a little bit of extra money, right? Because if that's the case, you're going to find yourself going backwards and again, taking that 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. One of the big struggles I think most traders go through too is always feeling the urge to win. If you feel the urge to win constantly, you're not going to make it. You're going to go on tilt. You're going to take tilted trades. Things might actually go backwards for you. And so I would encourage you to take a step back from that. If you find yourself feeling the urge to win every single trade, maybe take the day off, maybe take a couple of days off, right? And refocus yourself, realign yourself with the realism and the realistic things of trading, because winning every single trade is not realistic and you're probably not going to. In fact, I know you're not going to. You're going to lose trades and you have to be okay with that. And to the next point here, most people can't be okay with red days. And that's also one of the bigger struggles, right? One of the bigger struggles is you cannot be okay with red days. And if you're not okay with that, what's going to happen? All of the other things we just covered, right? You're going to overtrade, you're going to over leverage, and you're going to take way too many trades that you think you see that aren't there. And you're going to fail. You're going to blow your accounts. You're going to have to go buy more profit accounts. And again, that cuts into that financial aspect of trading, because that is paying tuition to learn from these markets. And eventually you get slapped in the face enough to where you stop doing the stupid shit that's causing you to fail. Now let's step away from like the cliche things and actually let's get into specific problems that traders deal with, right? And this one is, I think, key because I went through it. It is information overload. It is adding way too many things to your charts where you have the MACD, the RSI, the EMAs, the VWAP, the initial balance. You have everything, on your charts, volume profile. The problem is when your trading chart starts to look like a roadmap, you're giving yourself too much information. Every single one of those is telling you something different and painting a different story. And so you can't get the information that you need by having all of those on your charts. Simplify things, right? The more you can simplify trading, the better it is you are going to understand the markets and understand where you need to improve. But if you start, with this information overload and start giving yourself way too much, things are going to be a little bit harder for you because you're not going to know where you went wrong. This next one is my absolute favorite because I have went through it so many times, and it is entering a tilted position after you just got stopped out and then price ran in your favor. I guarantee you every single one of you know what I'm talking about, where you entered a trade and you had the right idea, this is the wrong time, but you entered the trade, the market came down and stopped you out, and then started running in your favor, doing exactly what you thought it was going to do. And then you entered this tilted position. You oversize, over leverage because you want to be in what you knew was the right play. But then what happens? You enter the position, you're oversized, over leverage, and ready to ride this thing out, but then it goes against you. Now you're in the red even more, and you still could be riding the trade. It's just pulling back because nothing in trading is ever linear. And it's just pulling back, and then you get out of it, out of the emotion because you're oversized and over leveraged, and then what happens? Bang, right back in your favor. Now you're getting back in it and chasing it even more, right? That's a very specific problem. I went through it. I know a lot of other people go through it as well, and it is hard. It's hard to avoid those urges because those urges are always going to be there, right? And it's just how you learn to manage it and navigate it is what makes all the difference in the world. One of the other specific problems that a lot of traders go through is sizing up to get those losses back because, again, what we referenced earlier, not being able to set losing days, losing trades, sizing up to get back those red trades. What's going to happen, right? Now, granted, does it work for you? It might work for you, but the problem with that is you're training your brain to think, hey, this actually works. When you over leverage, oversize just to get back the red trades that you took and it works for you, is super poisonous because it's not always going to work for you. And what's going to happen on the time that it doesn't? Now that you're over leveraged, you're already red, chances are you're going to blow the account, right? And so you have to, if you do end up doing that, you have to retrain your brain to think, I can't be doing this. Even though it might work and it could work, you have to retrain yourself to get out of it. And that's a hard thing to do because you know that it has worked before. This one might be a little bit of a hot take because I know a lot of people DCA a lot, but when you add into losing positions constantly and you're just adding into oblivion, you're not trading, you're gambling. You're trading off hope that it comes back to at least your break even or you get into a little bit of profit, right? When you're constantly adding to losers and you're DCAing into oblivion like that, it usually doesn't work out. There has to be a line to where you accept that you're wrong in a trade and you have to draw the line, right? You have to be like, okay, you know what? I'm wrong in this trade. I've got to stop DCAing. I've got to stop adding to this losing position because I know it's not working for me. Getting to that point is a hard task in itself because you're retraining your brain to think very differently because, again, what happens if it works? What happens when you DCA into oblivion and then price immediately reverses and actually goes in your favor? Again, now you're training your brain to think that actually works, and then the times that it don't, you're probably blowing your account, and now you have to retrain yourself to get out of that bad habit. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to a lot of these points because, again, I have been there as a trader. But then what's the turning point in trading? What signifies that you are rounding the corner in your trading and you're finally starting to get a little bit of edge in the market, get a little bit of momentum, right? And really What that comes down to is how comfortable you are with your risk management. Do you feel good about your red days? Are you okay with killing your losses and letting your winners run? Are you okay with taking that red day, taking it on the chin and locking yourself out of the accounts and moving on to the next day, right? When you can feel good about your red days like that, chances are you're probably rounding the corner, right? Because your risk management's good. You're not over leveraging. Your red days aren't huge, right? Because if you can feel good about a red day, chances are that red day was pretty small, right? And so your risk management is leveling up in a sense and getting better, so that way you can turn the corner. You can start to find that momentum and that edge, and giving yourself more time in an account before you blow it. I would say the next thing too, and when you feel yourself rounding that corner, is when you feel like you don't have to trade. When you're in a position to where you don't have to trade, you realize that you shouldn't take a trade, and maybe it might just be a no trade day. That's a good, indication that you are getting to where you need to be, because you're understanding risk management. You're understanding the psychology of trading, and you're understanding that not every day is going to be a tradable day. There may not be an opportunity, right? The market doesn't have, the market isn't going to present opportunities every single day. There's going to be days where it's going to be a chop fest. It's not going to be great. It's going to be low volume, right? Or there could be days where the volume might be too much. It could be way too volatile. Think back in the COVID times when the VIX was up in, like, what was it, the 70s or something like that, when trading was almost impossible, right? I mean, there's going to be days where you have to take a step back and say, you know what? The market isn't doing its thing for me. I'm not really seeing the market clearly. I need to take a step back, right? And when you feel yourself get to that point, that's where you really, again, find that turning point in your trading. And also, to kind of take a step back into like the more the cliche things, is like when you are okay with killing your losses, right? You don't have to, let a loss go against you and constantly DCA. If you're wrong, and you're able to, train yourself to think differently and be like, you know what, I am wrong in this trade. I've got to get out of it. Because again, one of the biggest things for humans is that we're naturally wired to not want to be wrong. We hate being wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong. But when you can train yourself to be wrong and be okay being wrong, that's when you start killing your losses a lot sooner and capitalizing on your winners, where your winners then start to outweigh your losses. I have a 49% win rate right now. This month for July, I have a 49% win rate. That is not great. My win rate's usually about 60%, right? On average, 60 to 70% on average, okay? Right now it's 49, and I am still making money in the markets, all right? That is where you want to be in your trading. That is where you want to find that turning point, because if you can be there, if you can have that 49% win rate and still be making money in the markets, you're doing something right with your risk management and how you are interacting with the markets. So all of this to say, again, trading is not easy, and it's going to take time. You're going to go through trenches. You're going to go through failure. But how long are you willing to sit and go through it before you actually hit that turning point in your trading? Because you may be closer than you think. You may be getting there, right? It just takes a little bit more time, a little bit more push, but you are guaranteed to fail if you decide to quit, right? If you decide to quit, you are guaranteed to fail. How long can you go through the trenches? How long can you eat shit for before you finally hit that turning point in your trading? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was something a little bit different. I didn't want to do a prop firm, a technical video. I just had a lot on my mind because I've seen a lot of people, going through this failure, but I wanted to hopefully, relate to some of you guys and make a video that some of you can listen to and be like, you know what, he's right. I am going through this. I am going through these struggles. I am going through the trenches. It is causing financial, struggle in my home life. I need to find a way to make it work. Like there's ways to figure things out, and it's a matter of how long you're willing to go through it to actually, again, turn that corner in your trading. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.